Okay, this lesson is going to deal with metric conversions. We're going to use a lot of the same ideas we've been using as far as the magic numbers or the conversion factors. All this is a new set of conversion factors, a new set of labels. This is what the rest of the world uses. This is what America typically does not use when it talks about daily measurements. In order to understand the metric conversions, we must be able to memorize these 7 letters in order from left to right. The easiest way is to make a sentence. Make a word for each letter and make a sentence out of it. King Henry, etc., etc. And if you pause the film and work to make something, a sentence that makes sense to you, and the crazier it is, the more it makes sense. For example, the one I still remember from kids 8 years ago goes the following. Kick him, don't be down, catch me. Kick him, don't be down, catch me. It makes absolutely no sense, but somehow I still remember it. These are the prefixes. These are the part of the word that goes in front of whatever it is I'm measuring. So I'm going to start at the B in the middle. B stands for base. Base is what am I measuring? Am I measuring in liters? Liters is measuring liquid. So is it kiloliters, big liters, or is it milliliters, very small amounts of liquid? That's one base measurement you could use all of these for. Again, these are all the prefixes: big, small, medium. I could have medium liters, or big liters, or small liters. I could measure the weight of something, which is grams, similar to pounds. Grams is weight. Again, it's the base. I could have medium grams, I could have big grams, or a big amount of weight, or I could have small grams, a small amount of weight. Liters, grams, oh, and I'm drawing a blank here. Meters is the other one, distance. Similar to what we do with inches, meters. A medium amount of distance, a big amount of distance, or a small amount of distance. So these are all my base measurements. The base goes here, and the prefix goes in front. So I can grab any one of these prefixes. C stands for centa. I could have centa. I could have a semi-small amount of liquid, centiliter. So that's how these things piece together to give you an actual measurement. Now, what do all these stand for? K stands for kilo. I'm probably going to run out of room. H stands for hecta. I'll come back to the D's. C stands for centa. M stands for milla. The D's, one is deca, one is deci. There are different ways people abbreviate these. For our class, I'll put DK and DC. Why is this easy to remember? Because the DC is beside the letter C. This is deca, a little bigger than medium. Deca, a little smaller than medium. So the first thing with metric is, can we come to a point where I know these in order? And I know that base, or a single letter, and I should make note of that because that'll come into play. Anytime I have a label that is a single letter, like an L, or a G, or an M, that must mean it's medium size. Okay? This has to be set kind of in stone, then we can move on. So if you haven't, pause the video, try to come up with a sentence. You can use kick him, don't be down, catch me. You can do that. From there, I just know that DC is beside the C, DK must be here. Medium, bigger, smaller. Okay, we're going to do two things with this. One, I'm going to take one measurement and convert it to another measurement. Still the same amount, but I want to rename it with a different label. The other thing we're going to do is add, subtract. So let's take a look at how do we convert from one to the other. First off, this is 44M. M is a single letter, which means it is in the base. A lot of kids will say, this is millimeters. It's not millimeters. Millimeters would be 2 M's. Single is in the base. So, this is where I'm starting. I'm starting in the base. DCM. This means I'm going from the base and I'm going to where DC is. DC is 1 to the right. So I start at my first label and I move to my second label. So I start here and move 1 to the right. If I move 1 to the right on the label chart, I'm going to take the decimal in 44 and also move it 1 to the right. .44 is here. Where is the decimal in the number 44? Right here. If I moved 1 to the right in my chart, I'm going to take my decimal and move it 1 to the right here. What do I fill in the gap with? 0. My new number is 440 decimeters. What is 44 meters equal to? 440 decimeters. Next example, 0.6 kilometers or kilometers. I'm going to start at the KM. Remember, the first letter is where I start on my chart. KM. I must get to cm, centimeters, which is the whole way down here. Start at your first label, KM. Move to your second label. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. So I'm going to take my decimal and move 5 to the right. 0.6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my new decimal, and the gaps go zeros. This becomes the number 60,000 centimeters. It's the same amount of distance, two different ways to label it. Last one. G. G is a single letter, so that means I'm in the base. G. I must get to MG. Actually, you know what? Let's change this. Let's make this HG. So I'm starting at G, which is base, and I need to go to HG. HG is 2 to the left. 1, 2. Excuse me. If I go 2 to the left on my label chart, I take my decimal in the number and move 2 left. So it was 12.8, now it is 0.128. So this is converting from one label to another label. Let's go to my last example. What if I want to add these? Well, what has to happen is I have to figure out what my conversion factors are, or what my magic numbers are. What's nice about metric is everything's based on 10. So you can go back to your chart, and in between each one is 10. How many millimeters in a centimeter? 10. How many centimeters in a decimeter? 10. Etc. 10. 10. 10. 10. How many millimeters in a meter? Do the trick we talked about last time. How many bubbles or bubble numbers do I cross over from M to the base? 10, 10, 10. What do I do with them? Multiply. What is 10 times 10 times 10? 1,000. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. How many millimeters are in a kilometer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 10 times itself 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1,000,000. So what I'm going to do is go down to my add problem, and I'm going to fill in my magic number. What is the magic number between millimeters and decameters? This should be decimeters. Sorry, wrong one. Change. Decimeters. So I look, here's millimeters, here's decimeters. How many tens have I crossed over? 2, 1, 2. 10 times 10 is 100. So I fill in 100 here. Once my magic numbers are set, the adding becomes typical adding. 8 plus 9, 17. 17 plus 1, 18. So I have 187 millimeters. Can I pull out a group of 100? Yes, I can. I'm left with 87 millimeters. Where does that group of 100 end up? Over top the bubble. I carry it over top. 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. Plus 3 is 13. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I end up with 123 DCM. And I end up with 87 millimeters. Get your chart figured out, times by tens, convert, move the decimal, same amount as I move in the chart. When I add up, make sure I know what magic number goes in between the two labels. That's it.